Good morning again. How you guys doing since the last war? It was a rough one. It's pretty rough. So today, besides that war, it didn't take very long. Facts win, opinion loses. Not my facts, the facts I went and learned and shared with you. Big difference. Why'd I do it on Christmas? Chaos magic. I wonder how people are going to feel in consideration of this philosophy. Some people practice magic as a real thing, intent and action to get the desired reaction. And if you look at it from a description of it, there's nothing about fireballs in there. You could say that business is modeled on the principle of magic, and it works wonderfully well. You could also look at chaos magic as understanding that everything balances. For every action, there must be an equal and opposite reaction because that is the truth of the reality that we experience. And in looking at everything from these two sides, not as like a multiple personality disorder or schizophrenia or any of the other mental instabilities, but instead looking at directly, no matter what you see, with the understanding that there was an equal and opposite reaction that caused that interaction that you saw. Ooh, it's a weird way to look at it, huh? And instead of having 12 ways to look at it or a million ways to look at it or pretending that you have some grasp on something you have no life experience into, you can instead navigate the world through this concept of chaos magic, that the things I don't understand will balance even if I don't understand how they balance. Chaos magic is defined as stepping outside of conventional means of using magic such as rituals and spells, but believing through the mind and belief that you can affect the reality around you. That's how reality actually works, though. Everything is balanced, and I can affect the reality around me based on how I view it and how I interact with it. That's actually how we live. But the definition of chaos magic is somehow thrown into the loop-de-loo-loos of magic, witches and warlocks and druids and everything else. This philosophy that actually describes the process in which we live has somehow become what I like to call conspiracy. And people that look at it or look at magic at all fall under the kook category, right? How can somebody be balanced and believe in things that they don't understand and that somehow it benefits their life or negatively affects somebody else's life or anything else? Demons and angels and all of the things, the sacrifices and all the negative. It's a positive. There's a full sliding scale when it comes to the concept of magic. And really, all they're saying when they say they do good magic or bad magic is they understand it. They understand reality at a level that they can actually affect anything they want, or mostly. But if you took magic and you defined it by instead of good and evil, right? Telling the truth or lying to get the designated result, well, you can pretty much quantify what people think magic is without using any spells. Because no matter what they do or whatever weird shit or the negative or the positive, it doesn't matter. But the end result is their intent and their actions or what they think got them the desired result. That's true. That's how reality works. There's nothing scary or mystical about that at all. That's how reality works. We think about it, we do an action, we get a reaction. The smarter we get about a subject, the easier it is to get a reaction. The chaos magic is understanding that good things can be bad and bad things can be good. I'll give you an example. Chaos magic as I practice it. The last video was very inflammatory. It was very rude. It was very direct. It was very in your face. And those that believe through the Bible, they're already assured that you're wrong and you're going to hell. Please understand, when you speak to a Christian, that's already the belief that they hold as truth. Doesn't matter what you think about it, that's what a Christian believes. Look at their philosophies. How could they not? And if you attack a Christian, they get up in arms. And they start, just like a narcissist, exploding. It's not my life path to tell you how to feel about my words. I'm not going to fix you. I don't care about fixing you. I just want you to think. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. At least you're thinking. But to attack a Christian with facts from their own Bible and use Bible verses and history itself to show 1 out of every 10,000 Christians that sees that video will go look to even see if I'm a liar or not. And let's say 1 out of every million Christians, only one of them takes my word seriously. I got one person thinking outside of what they believed. And I didn't ask them to change their belief. I just asked them, can their belief withstand new truth? Here's new truth. And it's new to you because you never studied history. It was never new. It was already truth. Just because you don't like the messenger is irrelevant on whether or not it's actual truth. So I'll take the negative. I'll be the brunt of the person that's attacked, the person that's talked down to. You can give all that to me because I accept all of that for the opportunity for maybe one person to go research for themselves and not by default, therefore, stop believing in God, but to seek God within themselves. So if the mode of transport that I use to communicate is the problem, if that's the problem, and not the fact that everything I pointed out shows you the lie, if the way that it was said to you is the problem, the idea that you think that that's my responsibility on how you receive things, interact with things, and then respond to things, you need to go watch some more videos. That's not my responsibility. I called Christians dummies because they didn't understand their own history of their religion. Wouldn't you consider somebody a dummy if they became a fucking heart surgeon and they never went to school for it? And they're telling you that they can save your life and transplant your heart? Would you believe that person? Or would you call them probably worse and sue them and all kinds of things? You do all that. But how dare I present facts in a way that your poor little broken heart can't understand? I have no sympathy. You can heal it at any point in time. And if you can't do it alone, there are therapists. There's a million ways to work on yourself. But the idea that the way that I deliver what I have to say offends you, not that it's truth, not that you can't argue with it, but it's that I said it. It's how I said it. It's the words I use to communicate. In understanding that everything balances, I understand for every 10,000 I fucking offend, I don't offend one. And if all 10,001 were going to be on the same fucking path anyway, and it didn't matter what I said, but because I spoke in such a fucked up way, one person looked at it differently, mission accomplished. And you notice there's no, in any way, shape, or form, me telling you you should believe a different way. Only why is it do you believe this way? And a lot of that's going to get lost in the translation of the last video. I'm looking forward to arguing. I got way more Bible verses and quotes and history to just spew onto anybody that wants to argue about it. Chaos magic is understanding that everything balances. And if I, through this philosophy, chaos magic to me is simply a philosophy and requires self belief and self love to even be able to follow it. I set out to do negative things sometimes because I know what the end result will be. And it may have been negative for you, but for the people that you were affecting negatively, it was fucking positive. So if I'm supposed to care that I affected you negatively, when just because you got affected negatively, the other people you were affecting negatively are now affected positively, I've balanced it. I've never heard of a surgeon that cuts out growths in a human body and listens to the complaints of the cancer. In fact, I've never even heard of a surgeon that could communicate with cancer. The only communication was the cut of the knife and the removal. And it's just thrown on a tray and discarded. That's how I look at lies. And I don't care that it hurt that I cut it out of you. I don't care. I don't have to have empathy for you lying to yourself. You should have some empathy for yourself for what you're putting yourself through. But me telling you about it, however I decide to describe it and put it forth to you, you're watching chaos magic work perfectly in the world. My beliefs and my disbeliefs, and why I believe and why I don't believe. And it's a pretty good foundation, isn't it? It's really hard to get in and argue with me and have some points that you want to make because you know I never personally called you out. Not a single person that's seen this. In fact, when I attack Christians, I attack the mentality and philosophy of Christianity. I've never named a single Christian, not one. Not one preacher, not one minister, not one, except the Pope, because he's the sum total. And if you talk shit about the Pope, everybody that loves the Pope feels that word. So do you attack Christians or do you attack Christianity? Which did I do in the last video? Did I argue against a philosophy that made no sense and actually harmed people? Or did I call somebody's name out? Can you show me, please? Put your name down in the comments. You're like, you fucking said my name and I know you know me. What kind of projections are those? What kind of ego is that you feel the need to personally feel offended like I said your name? Which one of us is emotionally imbalanced? Which one of us has mental problems? Chaos magic is the ability to stay true to yourself and experience the duality of fucking life itself, the good and the bad, as it comes to you, as you experience it. And everything's relevant. You go, why is it? Because even if you don't know it, and none of us can quantify it and show a math equation, we can agree that we created our lives. We made the decisions of why things in our lives now. Even if we made them years ago, if years ago we decided that that's where we wanted to be, now we're there or we're not, but we're somewhere. We made decisions that led to this. You all know this. You made your own decisions that led to wherever you want to be. which means you're completely able to make a new decision at any point in time and change your perspective on anything. That's your right. This page is about thinking, not about telling. The only telling done on this page are facts for you to look at to decide what you think as well. And I can feel, not really, but I can put myself in the shoes of somebody watching this video because I really practice chaos magic. And the only way to understand something is to embrace it. Most people, they want to embrace good things, good ideas, good concepts, good behavior patterns. I didn't. I didn't embrace this version of myself and start to understand even who I could be if I disciplined myself and I put time and effort into things that really mattered and I redefined what was good and bad in my life and I went through all those things. I could get to where I am now, which is on my way to getting somewhere else and become a better human being. Because that's where I want to go. Not because I care what any of you think. But I've always embraced all the bad things and all the bad decisions and all the bad mentalities and all the bad breaking down and destroying things. I literally was a tornado for most of my life. It's only been like the last 10 years that things have changed significantly and to the point where I'm here now. And it's pretty good, but I got a long ways to go as far as I'm concerned. But in embracing all that bad, I can accept that that bad exists. Most of you can't even accept that everything balances. All of it. And so it's all significant because I made the decision to have this type of life. And because I had this type of life, anything that I experience in the now is only because I chose this life. No matter what it is, laugh, anger, it doesn't, no matter what it is, this is what I get to experience because of the choices I knowingly or unknowingly made throughout my life. And for me, well, I embraced all that bad shit, and then I had to carry it around until I was ready to heal it. And then once I healed it, I realized that I'd done something great. I'd figured out how to heal a bunch of bad shit and bad mentalities and bad mindsets and bad behavior patterns. And it sucked. It sucked going through all that. It sucked. It still sucks. Adrenaline and escapism. I've been addicted to those two things most of my life. Do you know what it's like to cut off adrenaline? It's to cut bad situations out of your life that you could possibly die from. You have to create those into your life to get adrenaline rushes. Do you understand the level of insanity that I participated in the world? And escapism for all the pain I carried and I didn't want to let go of. And therefore wasn't being anything more than a reaction. And as a reaction, I could be controlled, manipulated, talked down to, made to feel less than I am. All of those things were possible when I practiced escapism. It doesn't matter if you drugs or crime or it doesn't matter what you put into that category. There's a whole bunch of shit that fits. And conveniently enough, I found all the negative shit fits in escapism. All of it. That was a hard life lesson to take everything I thought about myself that allowed me to escape and accept that it was bad for my life. That's advanced chaos magic, promise. It takes a lot of doing it wrong and failing and learning from those failures. Period. Period. So I practice chaos magic. I practice balancing things. It's where the mentality of doing something nice every time someone did something bad to you. that's in perfect alignment, as wonky and unconventional as it is, to stay in alignment when you can't control things. And if you start with the understanding you can't actually control anything or anybody or anybody's opinion, then all you have to work with is truth. And you only have your personal truth to work with unless you can find common denominators that other people can agree are common denominators, not even truth. Just that they too can grasp that concept. It's not easy to walk this path. It's right in between darkness and light. Everything's gray. You put on the color gray. You know where you can see a rainbow the best? A gray sky. Little philosophy for you. So I thought I should come back on here and make another video because I didn't want you to think that like we'd steered off the path. I have so much conviction and compassion when it comes to that situation and that mentality. And I really hold dear in my heart that philosophy. And I'm very protective of it. I'm willing to go to war with what you believe to be truth based on how I see it. And I could be wrong. I could be. But it doesn't matter because I already did the action. And the reaction, what I wanted to happen, is I wanted somebody to hear it without taking offense. No matter what you do, someone's going to take offense. Let me tell you a little secret about the world. No matter how you say it, no matter how you express it, no matter what facts you use, and no matter what the dynamic is between the two people, no matter what, people are going to misunderstand you, intentionally or not. No matter what, people aren't going to hear your words and respond to them in a way that makes you feel justified in speaking them. There's never going to come a day where everybody's just your buddy. But if you just speak truth, if you use truth as the rudder to guide your life, how you feel about it's your prerogative. How you interact with people is your choice. How you respond to people is your responsibility. See, the thing is, I've done the same spiel at ministers, and ministers that absolutely also went and did the 4 years of Bible study to understand the history of the Bible itself. See, that's the funny part. You don't understand that the ministers understand. You don't understand that the education they received, they're lying on the pulpit itself as they speak to you on Sunday mornings. You never realize that because understanding the history of the Bible isn't something that's taught in school. Chaos magic is the ability to see something imbalanced and decide whether or not you want to balance it. And I've found through this philosophy that God must exist. Because if I do not become the reaction to something, if I don't participate, even if it was directly directed at me, if I let that go and it's not my problem, then it is not my problem. If I created the problem, I already have a responsibility. I should already know to take responsibility. And if I don't, well, if you get caught up, you get caught up. But if you didn't have the responsibility in the first place, you have to choose to take responsibility for something that's not yours. You don't have to balance anything you see. I choose to balance the things I see around me that are lies by calling it out. And the different ways that I do so represents all the different lives that I've already lived based on this philosophy. I've been a convict, I've been a farmer, I've been a welder, I've been a fast food employee, been a delivery driver, just jobs. But when you do these different jobs, and there's a whole lot longer list, please understand, I just don't need that. I don't care. live like 30 different lives. And what I mean by that is every occupation that you do, every field of study that you get into, every school you go to, there's a new environment around you. And the people that have similar interests are a certain way. They think a certain way, they go to certain bars, they do certain things, they have certain group activities, they do certain things by themselves. It's a sliding scale. There's no right or wrong here, it just exists. So if you immerse yourself, you are in the now. This is who I am. This is how I'm living. This is what I'm doing. There's no parameters outside of that. But then suddenly one day you go, all right, it's now a box. I'm going to go do this over here. People make career changes once or twice in their life, absolutely. And usually it's to go to a career that either makes more money or they're more satisfied with the work environment, correct? What happens when you do it like 30 or 40 times? You start to take in the mannerisms and ideas of different groups of people. That's the end result. There's no voodoo about it. And the more people you try on, which is what to me careers and jobs, and I'm going to try this activity out and see what I think. And is it worth it? And can I balance my life out doing it? Right? That's what a job is. A set of activities that helps you eat and sleep and smile when you're not there, right? That's what a job is. How many jobs have you had? I've had a fuckload of them. It's what allows me, I think, to see from so many different perspectives in humanity. Not from some disorder, because I've packed my life so full. Things that have happened and things I've been involved with and different people I've met in different walks of life. I've lived homeless under a tarp, and I've felt right at home in mansions. And I never changed how I dress in either scenario, but I was right at home wherever I was. Because I'm not afraid to go have a new life experience and try something I've never tried before and fail at it. I failed at so many things. I'm so proud of myself for all the shit I failed at. Helps me think clearly. And all of this is chaos magic. All of this whole thought process, this entire philosophy, the way to view things with duality, all of it. If you present me something, I know the exact opposite must exist. It's just the fucking truth. Universal truths involve mechanical procedures. Everything else is a personal truth. And I've tried to collect as many as I can through knowledge. Taking the time to read thousands of books. Well before I got locked up and had to read hundreds more. I've studied everything from philosophy to science fiction, fantasy writing, complete imagination, stoic, slow vibrational truth, all the way to high, unfunctioning truth. All a sliding scale of belief. You're like, look at Pokemon. There's an example of imagination becoming reality and actually taking over a portion of people's minds on a daily basis to the point where they're fanatics. Pokemon. For every thought process I have a multitude of case studies that I've observed and gained this conclusion from. I thought it was important to talk to you about this morning because I just punched a lot of people in the fucking mouth. And I wanted you to know that I did it out of love. Because the end result is more important than your temporary feelings that you can't seem to get under control.